Good morning, good morning, good morning. You know what today is? It's Monday Morning Chats with Sack, and Sack is me. I hope that you guys had a great weekend. Honestly, I had a really good, chill, relaxed weekend. I got a chance to do some food shopping, of course, which was always good. I made some fresh salmon and I stuffed it. So if you got a chance to look at my video, I did record it Saturday night. But it was really cool. I'm trying to decorate my porch. So I have new cushions for my patio set. And now I'm just trying to find like the sign that says welcome. So I'll definitely be on the lookout for that this week. But other than that, it was very relaxing. It was good. Like I didn't even want to wake up this morning. Like I did not want to wake up this morning. I read, a scripture and a affirmation I get sent every day, and that's what woke me up was a reminder to read. And I was like, I just want to sleep. Just want to sleep. So I hope that you guys had a good weekend as well, and I hope that this upcoming week is just even better for you guys. I just hope that. So for last week, in my Bible study, we talked about understanding grief. So the theme that I had for this season is called Spring Cleaning, and the subtitle is Understanding Grief. And I thought that it would be cool to have this as a condensed like Monday morning chat. Bible study, of course, that goes for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, but you won't get that. You'll just get like a brief synopsis of what we discuss. And so when you think about spring cleaning, you think about, okay, well, you're cleaning out old things and bringing in something new. But if you also read like scripture, it also talks about like, God cleaning me a new heart, and make things anew within me. And so when I thought about today, I just thought like it was really cool to really talk about grief, because a lot of times people associated grief with losing a loved one, but sometimes grief could be, it's just a strong emotion when you lose something. It can be, the end of a relationship, whatever relationship it is. Maybe it's a friendship you had for years and you realize, hey, we can't be friends no more. It could be from a romantic relationship. You realize, hey, this can't work anymore. And maybe that wasn't your decision. Maybe it was somebody else. So how do you deal with that loss? So spring cleaning, that is a theme. But if you think about spring cleaning, it's like cleaning out things. And when it comes to grief, is cleaning out your soul and pretty much understanding that emotion, how to deal with it and how to move on. How to accept the fact that something that you once had is no longer here. It could be a person, place, or a thing. Maybe you lost your house or maybe you lost your car. Like you can still grieve over that because it's a loss of something, right? So there are two quotes that I want to read that I actually talked about in Bible study. The first one, it says, clutter is not just the stuff on your floor. It is anything that stands between you and the life that you want to be living. So what I really believe that when you can't process your feelings, and sometimes that can get in the way of you living like your full life, where you're okay with everything that happened to you and you make a decision to move forward. But if you can't process your emotions, I think that can stand in the way of you being your authentic self. Like I really believe that. And the next quote is, most of the shadows of this life are caused by standing in our own sunshine. So are you blocking your own happiness? And it could be for various reasons. Like, what are you doing to stand in your way of your own sunshine? Are you standing in the way of your own happiness? So grief is, like I said, it's a strong emotion. So there's 5 stages of grief. It's denial. Can't believe this person is not here. Anger. I'm so upset that they're gone. Bargaining. I promise I'll change if they come back. The 4th stage, depression. I feel hopeless about the future without them. And acceptance. I can go on with my life and deal with their absence. And so the first thing that we talked about was like, when was the last time you dealt with grief? So we all share our own personal stories. And then for me, I just started thinking about that. Like, when was the last time like I really experienced grief? And for me, the last time like I really experienced like something being hurtful, the thought of something being lost, is my uncle death, which was almost 2 years ago. Like I had family members that died in the past, and I cried and I just got over it because I was like, I don't need to cry. Like that's, you can't cry. That's showing that you're weak. But this death was different. It was somebody that was really close to me, like a second dad. And when he died, it just like my whole world, it just crashed. Like my cousin told me, she said, when I saw you, like I was helping prepare his memorial service and I was like doing like a scrapbook. And she said, Sakina, like I always see you so happy, but that day you look so hopeless. And I was just in this denial. Like it's easy for me to accept someone's death when they're sick because I never want someone to suffer. But this one was different because he wasn't sick. So it was just like I saw him one day and then the next day I hear that he's not here anymore. So it was just that denial, like this. I hope this is a bad dream, right? This cannot be it. I don't think I was angry that he was gone. I was more upset, like, why did God take him away? Like, he's one of the good ones. And God, why did you take away a good person? And there's so much evil here on this earth. And why are these people still here, right? Like, why are they still here? Bargaining, promising that you'll change if they come back. I don't think I did any bargaining. It was just a matter of that. I wish I had more time. We had more things to do. Depression. I feel hopeless. Yeah, I felt that like, dang, like he's really not here. Like sometimes I would just get in this little funk, like, wow, like he's not here, and it just really bothered me. In the acceptance, I think that for me, like I had to learn to accept, like, yo, he's not really here. Like when I go to my aunt's house, like he's not going to be in the living room or he's not going to be in the basement. Like I'm not going to ever see him at any family function. Like I'm not going to ever see him again. And it's like, do I keep crying about it, which is fine, but can I accept the fact that he's not here? Can I accept the fact that he's in a better place compared to what we are dealing with on earth? And I had to accept that. Now, don't get me wrong. I still have my moments when his birthday comes up, or sometime I may, look to my phone and look at some of his old text messages, or if I'm going to like Home Depot, that's like one of our favorite stores. I'm like, Dad, I miss him, but I'm happy, and I'm happy to say that the time that he was here on this earth, we had some great times together. Like we had some great times, and that's just the loss of a death, like, losing someone, like a death, like grieving over a death. And I thought about relationships in my family and, some friends, I'm like, you know what? That's still grief too. Like one relationship, a family relationship, I just had this idea of what it should look like. And I lived my whole life thinking that, like, because who we are, like, this is how this relationship should look like. Like, this is how we should do these things. We should do that. And then I got to the point when I realized, like, that's my own perception. And that's okay, but that's not going to ever play out how I dreamed it to be. So even though I had this idea of what this relationship should look like, it's not going to ever be. Because with relationships, whatever it is, whatever type of relationship it is, it takes two people. But if it's only one person that's willing to do things, then you got to ask yourself, like, man, like, are you like still pouring and no one's not filling you back up? Like it doesn't mean anything to pour into somebody and they can't pour into you. And so when I think about those things, I'm like, do I want that? And I was talking to my brother about, my Bible study, and I talked about like, losing people, and just because you make the exception, just because you made the decision to say, hey, this person is no longer in my life, it doesn't mean that you don't love them. I think that's a misconception. Like you could still love somebody, you could still miss somebody, but be absolutely okay with them not being in your life. And that's how I feel. Like, hey, this person's not in my life, but like my life still goes on. Like my life is still lit. Like I'm going to still throw bomb cookouts. I'm going to still accomplish things in my life. I'm still going to get the happiness that I deserve. Like I'm going to still reach for happiness. I make the decision to be happy. And if I keep thinking about what could be, I'm going to be sad for a very long time. So why not make the decision to say, you know what? I accept the fact that we're not going to ever be. And that's okay. And I was telling my brother, like, the only thing I demand is respect. And he was like, well, if you know how this person is, what would respect do? Would it change anything? And I said, you know what? You're right. And I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I don't need nothing from this person. Nothing. I wish them well. I wish them the best, but nothing. Like, there's nothing that I want from that person. And that was like a hard pill to swallow. And I will tell you this, like, I decide to be happy every day. And if someone gets in the way of that, I just try to remove myself. But the thing I will tell you that's like really, that will bother me sometimes is some of the things I see on social media. Like, we live in this world where you look weak if you're sad about something. Like, you look weak if you're catching feelings. And I'm a true believer that, like, it's okay to feel like that. Like, if something bothers you, like, it's okay to feel hurt by something. Like, we live in this society where it's just like, oh no, you don't have to hurt. Like, you don't have to do all that. Like, catch flights, not feelings. But you can actually do both. Like, it's okay to feel. Like, that's okay. And when I see people say, well, I'm not going to feel anything, like, I'm going to just, like, let this go. No. And I feel like that's, when you don't process your feelings, like, I really feel like what you do more hurt to yourself. Because when you can't process your feelings, yeah, like, when you can't process your feelings, or you make the decision not to process your feelings, like, when you are with other people, like, you bring that baggage to them. Like, you bring all of those emotions, and sometimes you could take it out on people that you have no intentions to do so. So it's okay to, like, sit in those emotions, and it's okay to process them and then let them go. And sometimes it may take a day, sometimes it may take a week, sometimes it may take months, but it's okay, like, to learn to sit in those emotions. Like, what made you feel this way? And then learn how to process those and learn how to let them go. Because if you have built up anger, that's an emotion. Like, if you have built up anger and you're not learning how to deal with it, just imagine you could have an outburst on somebody that only wants to be kind to you. So it's one of those things where it's just like, you got to learn it. Yes, it's natural. It's a part of the emotions and all that. But some people make the decision to sit in those emotions and never process those. And sometimes they could be in those emotions for a long time. Like, you could be upset with somebody. That's normal. Like, that's very, very normal. But don't let that upset feeling affect how you go about your day or go about how you handle things. So I would say it's okay to learn how to process your feelings. And sometimes you may not know how. Like, I'm a big advocate for therapy. Like, I truly believe that a lot of times some people, not all, we have this built up emotions in us, and the only way to get it out is by talking to somebody. And some people may not know that. And sometimes you may have to, like, lose something for you to realize, like, hey, like, I'm really this way. And, like, you'll see some women say, you know what, F him, he ain't this, and have all. I'm like, sis, you still hurt. Like, that's okay. Like, sis, you're still hurt. And you saying all these things, that don't mean anything. Like, it's okay to, like, process those feelings. It's okay to say that you're hurt. Like, for me, I would tell you, I guess maybe it's the poet in me, and me always being so explanatory. I would just say, hey, when you did this is how it made me feel. And some people don't get it. Like, wait, you're able to really explain how yes. I'm able to tell you exactly how I feel. And it's knowing how to say it, it's learning the right delivery when it comes to things. But no, I am able to tell you, hey, when you did this is how it made me feel. And learning how to communicate your emotions. Sometimes people don't know how. Like, sometimes people will just say, like, hey, is everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. Well, what does fine mean? Like, define that. And maybe that's the lawyer in me, because I'm like, okay, when people say things, okay, what does that absolutely mean? And so I am a true introvert, which some people don't know. And so for me, I can feel when other people feel. And I think another thing for me, I was a communication studies major. So I pay attention a lot to things that some people may not pay attention to. Or just like, I listen very well. And it's sometimes where people think like, I don't think she listened. No, I paid attention. But the nonverbal, I really study that with people, and I pay attention. And sometimes, for me, sometimes people may not have to say anything. I can just, look at something and just say, hey, something's not right. And then I'll sit back and say, you know what? I'm going to say something, but this may not be the time. And that's okay. But I just think it's important to just really process your feelings. Like, it's okay to lose something. Like, you may lose a friend, you may lose a job or whatever, but learning how to process those things. Sometimes it can be difficult, but I can tell you that when you learn how to process those things, like, you start to remove the clutter, because sometimes we stand in our own way of our own happiness because we have so many feelings built up. Like, I wrote I put a post on my story, and it said that it's okay to love again. Everyone's not like him, sis. And this can apply to men. You know, sometimes we live in this fear of not being in love or want to be loved because we think about what happened of the loss of a past person that we were with, and it didn't work at all. And that's normal. You know, sometimes you may be guarded and say, you know what? I don't want to feel what it's like to like somebody, because what if I get in too deep and they don't like me, or it doesn't work out? Like, it's just this big fear, like, yo, it's not going to work out at all. And I could tell you from my own personal experience, like, that's how I was. Like, when I was younger, I was head over heels for this one guy. Like, my first everything. And when it didn't work out, like, I was distraught. Like, I was just like, I'm not going to ever be with anybody. Like, I don't want anybody. All men do is lie. But I was young. Like, I was 20 years old. And my cousins all knew the guy. But I was bitter. Like, I was just so bitter. Like, I would not let anybody in. And then I look back over my life like, Dad, like, I met a guy, like, after that incident with that guy where he just broke my heart. Like, I met other guys after him that was great. You hear me? Like, great guys, but I couldn't see it because I had so much hurt where it cluttered everything, where I couldn't even see a good person in front of me because I was dealing with so much hurt. And then the fact that I lost something that I didn't realize, like, I met other people that was better. And so as I got older and I met great women in my life that would tell me, like, Sakina, I think you are a great person, but you young and you got, like, so much bitterness in you. Like, when would you ever let that go? Like, everybody's not like the guy that broke your heart. Like, let that shit go. Like, let that go. And I had to really sit in it and say, you know what? Let me process this. Like, what was it that made me hurt? Was it the lying? What was it? And I had to really be honest with myself. Like, hey, like, I took some part into this. Like, I actually can hold myself accountable and say, you know what? I played a part in this too. Like, even though he broke my heart, like, I took some part in this too. Like, that he's not the only person to blame. And that's really hard. Like, that's really hard to say, like, hey, even though I'm hurt, like, I'm a part of this heartbreak too. It's not just him. But I had to learn how to process that, because what I didn't want was for me to have all this hurt and all this anger build up from one person that I'm so looking into the past that I never look at what's in front of me. And I had to remove that. And then it took some time. Like, I'm telling you, like, law school, it changed me. Like, it really changed me. Like, I was like, that's where it started for me. Right before I went to law school, like the fall right before law school, because I took a semester off to, like, save up money and everything. But the summer of 2009, that's when the healing is somewhat started. Like, I started to go back to church consistently, like, going into Bible study. But it wasn't until law school, I want to say in 2011, like, I looked at things from a different perspective. I got closer to God. I went to church consistently in law school. Like, I needed it because I'm like, God, you need to cover me, because these exams, sis is going to struggle. So I need him, but I needed him to clean my heart. Like, I needed him to, like, clean everything and say, God, like, I know I had this bitterness, but I can't do this by myself. Like, I can't do this by myself, and I need your help. And I'm very transparent now. Like, hey, I would tell you, like, look, I was a piece of shit. Like, back in the day, I can admit that. But now my heart is soft, and I'm not afraid to express how I feel. I'm not afraid to fall for somebody. Like, I'm not afraid of those things. And even though society has this thing where, well, you can't be like this. No, I really don't give a damn what society says. Like, I know how I'm supposed to feel. I'm not afraid to express how I feel. If I'm hurt, I'm going to tell you. If I'm happy, I'm going to tell you. And I've learned to just live life on my own terms. Like, yeah, learning how to process things on my own terms. And sometimes it may take longer than others, but I realize, like, I'm not going to compare my life, my whole entire life, to a snapshot of somebody else's life. That's why, like, when I see stuff on social media, I take it with a grain of salt, because that's just a snapshot of somebody's life. That's not their whole entire life. Like, if you see somebody happy, like, you don't know the things they had to lose to get to where they're at, right? So I live life according to my own terms. Like, I just live life according to my own terms. If it makes sense to me, I'm going to do it. I don't care what anybody else had to say. Like, if it makes sense to me, I'm going to do it. So I hope that, if you're grieving over something or someone and you're learning how to process those feelings, like, that's absolutely okay. Like, that's okay. Like, if you have to cry, like, cry it out. And if you realize, like, you're still struggling, I'm telling you, therapy is the best thing ever. Do it. But I hope and pray that you really clean out your heart and get all of that grief out and learn how to process it and learn to accept what's gone may never come back. Like, learn to accept it. And it may take some time, but learn to accept it, because you want to live your best life. You want to live your full potential life. And if you still have some things let's like build up, can you really live your life? Can you really live it? So I hope and pray that you learn how to deal with your emotions, like whether it's grief, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, learning how to deal with those things and knowing how to talk it out. If you want my Bible study agenda, I'll be happy to email it to you. Definitely just write your email under this video when I'm going to post it, or you could just send me a DM. I'll be happy to send you my agenda. There are scriptures, if you're a Christian, there are scriptures on there that you can read that's related to what we discussed. I hope that this helped you, and know that it's okay to grieve over something. You don't have to just grieve over losing a loved one, like a death. You can grieve over losing a person, like maybe a relationship ended, maybe losing like a tangible thing. Like, that's okay. But learning to process those things. And know that it is okay not to be okay. I hope that you realize that, hey, things are not the way it may appear right now for your life, but it doesn't mean that life will not get better. Life will get better for you. And I pray that it does, and I know that it will get better for you. Create your own sunshine, whatever that may look like. Walk to the beat of your own drum. Everybody else can be doing everything else, but that's background noise. Walk to the beat of your own drum. I hope that this Monday, it inspires you to be great and phenomenal. I pray that your Tuesday is spectacular. I pray that your Wednesday is just awesome. I pray that your Thursday is amazing. I pray that your Friday is extraordinary, and I pray that your weekends are lit. And I just pray that you just never forget how amazing you are. And amazing people do have bad days. Like, that's normal. Let's be clear on that. But if you're having a bad day, just know that bad days don't last forever. Know that you are amazing. Know that you are great, and know that you are capable of great things. But you got this. You got this. If you're going through something right now, I'm telling you, the storm will be over soon. The storm will be over soon. So if ever you feel like, hey, I can't get out of this feeling, just know that the storm will be over soon. Take care, guys. And again, happy Monday. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So all of these videos are on YouTube. Subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I do this every Monday. Take care, guys. And again, happy Monday.